Good evening, folks, and it's day 46, part 2 of the Devlog. And tonight we've got some interesting stuff to do. Now, if you were with us earlier, you would have seen that we now can sit down. Okay? So let's have a look at that, because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to code out the rest of our sitting procedure. So you can see we're sitting, okay, and we can get up, we can sit down, we can get up, we can sit down. We can also hide the HUD, unhide the HUD, hide the HUD, unhide the HUD. Okay, so what I want to do is, there's a key to make you sit down, right? Now, if you hit that key again, you stand up. But what I want is, if you move, or like say you were sitting here and you tried to move forward, right? I want you to also stand up. So that shouldn't be too difficult. Famous last words, of course. But we're going to do that first. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it to work first, then we'll worry about everything else. Okay, so we've got our pawn here. We're going to go to our input. Okay, now we've already done this, but what we're going to do is we're going to say, oh, wait a minute. If it's not equal, okay, wait a minute. What we need to do here is we say, if this is true, which is the pin false here because we're not doing a not boolean on it, right? We're going to do if this is greater than 0, then we branch, okay, and if that is true, we stand up. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing down below. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here, and we shall tidy this up later, but I want the basics in there first. I've put a lot of work into this so far. Yeah, 45, well, probably about 200 hours, I'd say, at this moment in time. Maybe more. So now, right, when we do this, as I said, this isn't going to be quite right yet. I've got to put a delay on this, right? So we're going to do J, then we're going to move forward, and that sets us up to go. Okay, so I didn't press the button to get up there, I just pressed forward. Okay, so that the player doesn't need to hit a button again to get up. He just basically, if you move, it'll do it. Okay, so that was the easy part. Now we're going to do something interesting. Not that that wasn't interesting, but not quite as interesting as this. So what we're going to do is we are going to create a procedurally generated and dressed character. Okay, now we will be doing all sorts of stuff here, so get ready. So we start off like this. We have nothing. Okay, we have no animation, we have no character, nothing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off, we're going to create some variables. Now these might end up going into data tables, very possibly, but for the moment we're going to put them into variables. So first one, S meshes. Okay, this is going to be a skeletal mesh. Okay, and it's going to be an array. Fine. Then we're going to set the defaults. Okay, and we're going to have defaults. We're going to have 3 defaults. Okay, and these 3 defaults are going to be this one, and this one. Okay, and these are the same basic mesh, except each one has different facial hair. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, so how do we test that? Okay, well, first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to drag in this, get meshes, we're going to get the length, we're going to say -1, okay, then we're going to get random int in range, and it's going to go from 0 to here. And this is because if we do this part, it doesn't matter what size this is, it's going to pick a number in the right range. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull off here, we're going to get a copy, and we plug that in there. That's going to give us a random copy of the mesh, either this one, or this one. And then we're going to go in here, we're going to set skeletal mesh, and that is going to go in there. Okay, that is the first part of our procedurally generated mesh. Okay, we're not actually generating character meshes, but we are pulling out from a list which it's going to be a random one of these particular characters. Okay, now if we had 50 of these, this would still work, right? We would pick one of the 50 and that would set our skeletal mesh, right? So what we can do is we can simulate, and you can see there our character. And the easiest way to see this probably is if we go up to his head, right, stop, play, you can see a different beard, right, so we can see that it's picking a different one each time, or it's picking a random one each time, right, it's not necessarily picking a different one, okay. So, cool, good start. Now, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to decide on, well, okay, first things first. Okay, we're going to set our mesh, and we're going to do it here first, right? And then we can basically line up the capsule with it. So that's going to give us our correct thing. So we can see there that that's pretty good, except our capsule component needs a bit of a change. Okay, so we're going to change that to, let's say, we'll try 96, right, and our capsule can come down a bit to, let's say, 28, okay, and then we're going to drag him down, and this is a lot better, right, we're going to get that as close as we can without overstepping the mark. That should be about as close as we get it. Okay, we're going to go to the perspective again, and we know that we've basically got to rotate him minus, or got to rotate him 270. Okay, compile that, right, and then we basically get rid of that mesh. Okay, so now when we simulate, you can see that our guys are facing the right way, and we're getting a random thing. Okay, so next in line is we need to get, let's close down some of these things that we don't need. Okay, SK Viking, right, so this is actually, let's, right, I'll tell you what we'll do, just to be on the super clean side, right, what I'll do is I'm going to delete that, right, and we'll open up the things that we need. Okay, so we're going to open this up, okay, and then we're going to look at the full body, and you can see that those are completely nude. Okay, and we can see here that earlier on we've added a head socket. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to try and get, hi Screen Apple, how you doing, bud? Hope you're well. Right, so what we're going to do for testing purposes only, right, is we're going to get this meshes and we're going to duplicate it. Okay, and we're going to say head meshes. Okay, these are all going to be migrated into data tables. Okay, and we're going to pull from there eventually. But for the moment, we're just testing this out to see if it actually works. Now, here's the fun part. We've got armor, different types of armor. Okay? Now, he doesn't have a head, apparently. So let's change this slightly. Hi, Cassadell Gaming. Right, since we've got a few people in, right, I've got a question for you guys in the chat. We intend to put this game on Kickstarter, right? Now, I want you to answer honestly here, right? There's two questions. It's a two-part question. A, would you support this on Kickstarter? And B, how much would you pay, or how much would you donate to the Kickstarter? Right? So I wouldn't mind a couple of ideas of what you guys out there think, right? So this isn't going to be head meshes at all. This is going to be armor meshes. Okay? So in here again, we're going to put our different armor. So we've got armor. We're going to have 4 in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And now what we've got to do is basically the same thing as this, but then we've got to attach it. Okay, so let's do, well, actually we've got one thing to do first. We've got to attach it well, that would be great, Casa. Oh, actually, I was expecting less than that, but as I said, I'm just looking to see what you guys think. Right, so I'm going to go for here, spine 2, right? We might have to remove this, but we'll try it anyway. So we'll say socket, right? And we're going to rename it, right? And we're going to say armor socket. Okay, now this might be the wrong Kickstarter screen apple. Yes, we intend putting it on Kickstarter. Right, so we've got armor socket here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to attach actor to component, and we're going to say armor socket. Okay, and then we're going to click on the wrong place. We're going to duplicate that. And we're going to get the armor meshes. We're going to plug it in here. Crap. Yeah, agreed, Casa. We do need more sort of publicity. But we're working on that. Don't worry, we're working on it. And that's not an actor. We're going to, actually we're not attaching. Attach component. Right. Well, I mean, you got to remember Kickstarter is kind of a different market as well from YouTube. Right? You go on Kickstarter and right, so this is going to have to be a component. Okay, so this is going to have to be a skeletal mesh component. Right? Yeah, we know. Yep, we're not going to do feature creep. Well, what you got to remember is we can put it in early access as well, so a lot of people do that on Kickstarter, that they'll get the funds to get it up to like early access, and then basically from there that'll fund the rest of the development at that point. So yeah, that is kind of our plan. The Kickstarter is just going to be able to get us to, hopefully, to early access, and then hopefully the sales in early access will take us to be able to finish it, right? That's kind of the idea. So this is going to be armor socket. So let's see what happens, shall we? Apparently nothing. Yeah, but I think even you guys have seen that we've actually got something. Okay, so that doesn't seem to be doing what I was expecting it to do. Now, I don't know whether or not that's because Hi, Gaming 50, it's coming along nicely. Right, so is it going to work in actually in game, or are we going to get okay, so that didn't work. Or nah, that didn't work. Okay. Or maybe it did. Maybe it did. Let's just make sure it didn't spawn it somewhere really weird. Right? Right, so we need to find this guy. Right, what's this guy? Right, so it's BP base mannequin. Right? Press play again. So it's this guy here. Okay? And what we want to do is basically you see it didn't actually attach it. Okay. It's a little disappointing, but there we go. Always good fun. Right, so the point is, if we add a skeletal mesh to this, right, we break that, okay, then we set, oopsie, we set this skeletal mesh, set mesh, that's not what we want, this is what we want, right? Now this is going to be really weird, but don't worry about it. Screen Apple, you haven't seen the game yet, I'm afraid. I only work in the test map, which isn't representative of the actual what's going on in the game. Right, we're gonna have to change this back. Actually, maybe we don't. Or yeah, we do. Okay. We're gonna have to do a little bit of pissing around with this. Skeletal. I'm wondering if this is a skeletal mesh actor. Right, this is going to screw up again as usual. That's going to screw up. Right, that's going to screw up. Can we do that? Probably not. Delete that. Length. Right, sometimes it's a little bit not intuitive what you need, either the component, the actor, or the actual skeletal mesh. Copy. Do that. This will go in here. Right now, if we go to our viewport, simulate. What? Right, so basically that doesn't work at all. Right? Ah, look at that. See? It's over here. That's what I was telling you about weird positioning. Right, but save that for now, right? Go to here, armor, pick that. Okay. So if we save that and then simulate, eh? Well, this is weird. It's weird, but it does explain things. Let's have a look at something. Right? If I do this, then go back to body, and then select this. Ah. Right. Okay. For some unknown reason, I'm wondering if it's something as silly as that. Nope. Okay. So what was I going to do? Right, if we go into here, right? Okay. Well, that's weird. Okay. What I'm going to do, stop that just now. I'm going to remove this. Right? And I'm basically going to say that this is crap. And then I'm going to change this back. This armor meshes, right? We're going to change it back. Scale away. Oh, wait a minute. Skeletal. Let's make it a skeletal mesh actor. It's funny actually because normally while I'm streaming, time goes really slow. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Right, but when you're struggling and things aren't working, time seems to go really fast. Right. Save that. We're going to delete that. Delete that. We do a get. Copy. We do a length. Okay. And then attach. Attach to component. That's not right. Oh, for some reason opened. Visual Studio. Right, so we don't want that, and we actually don't want that. We actually might want that. let's say attach to component, and the mesh is going to be there. That's going to be there. Compile that. Viewport, simulate. Why is that not working? Armor socket. I mean, we could always put this in the construction script, but viewport. This is weird as hell. Okay, add breakpoint. Right, press play. Right, that's fine. None. What? Well, that would explain something. Armor meshes. Right, so it can't be that. Okay. So these armor meshes aren't going to be skeletal mesh actors, right? They're going to be skeletal mesh components. Alright. And yes, all the fun again to swap these all out. Great stuff. Right, so we are attaching a component to a component. Right. And apparently right, why can't I make these? Okay. Let's can I make this a skeletal mesh component? Right, but that's not really what I want to do, is it? SK E1, right? Still doesn't like that. Okay. Dismiss that for now, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bucket them, compile it, right? We'll get that out of there. It's maybe because of that it wasn't compiling. Okay. Right, let's try a slightly different approach here, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to say skc underscore armor. Okay, and it's going to be a skeletal mesh component. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, and that's going to not be an array. Okay, and then we're going to drag that in, we're going to get it, right? We're going to say set skeletal mesh okay. This is going to change to a skeletal mesh. Right, hopefully this will be the last time we need to do this. Now this is not a roundabout way of doing it, but it will work. Okay, okay, compile that. Then we're going to go into our armor meshes. Okay, we're going to delete that. Okay, and once we've done that, and this all works absolutely perfectly, come on, do your thing. It's because I've used it here, so it's getting upset. Okay. Right, tell you what guys, while we're waiting on this to delete, I'm going to grab a quick cigarette for a 2-minute break. So while you guys are still here, hit like and subscribe, check out the links for description. Sorry if you guys have heard this a million times, this is for the newer people. check the link for description for links to the Groenland Discord, my personal Discord, plus my Patreon and my previous game on Steam. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere, guys. Alright guys, we're back and let's see if we can solve this problem. Right, so going to get the length. Okay, we're going to get a copy. Okay. We are going to do that. And then we're going to do that. Then we're going to do that. Okay. Now, can you guys let me know if the stream's okay, because I'm getting a message here saying that it's a bit weird. Okay. I think it's okay. It was probably from that when it was doing its refreshy thing. Right? So, let's try that, shall we? And that's doing squat diddly. So let's press play. Okay, so none. Of course, because I never filled them in. That was a bit of a doofus move. Right, so that goes there. Now it seems that for some reason, right, it seems to have fixed itself now, but yeah, that goes there. Right, we need to fill these in. Okay. So we've actually got that, 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 and that. Save that. Viewport, simulate. Okay, so that's weird. That's weird for a kickoff. None. Right. 4, that one. Get 0. So that is that mesh. So that's none. So that seems like that seems like it doesn't work either. Right, so in fact that has to be a skeletal mesh component, right? So in theory, blueprint class, skeletal mesh component, right? So SKC armor, so we can't do that per se. Mesh, skeletal mesh. So we can set the skeletal mesh on it. Okay, so one thing here, this we delete. Okay, so we'll get rid of that. Then we'll get rid of that. Right, we'll say no just now. We'll delete that. Then we'll get rid of it. Okay. And the next thing we'll do is we'll add SKC armor. Okay. And that's not going to be an array. And we'll say armor. Right, we'll drag this in. We'll drag it in again here. Okay, we'll try that again. Drag that into there. Compile. Viewport. Simulate. Nothing. Right, okay, we'll press play again. Okay. And it still says none. Right, so it did pick an armor and it did try and do the SK armor, but for some reason this is nothing. right? So I don't understand this. Right. So this is our armor component, right? So what if we set this to this? Okay. We come back to here. Right. And we'll view that. We'll save that. We'll press play. Okay. We'll select our base mannequin. He's got a mesh. Right. We've got all that. Now the question is, if we type in fact armor, we get nothing. Actually, you know what? We shouldn't have typed it there. Should be here. Right, so here is our default, right? And apparently it's nothing. Okay. Right. Anyway. I think we're going to get a crash here. Well, maybe not. Stop it just now. Right, this armor is nothing. Right? And wanted body. Right? Where'd it go? I'm guessing it's in components. It is. Ah, right, okay. Okay. Right, so If we go to armor, that doesn't go in there. Wait a minute. This should be skeletal mesh component. Right. So this should be a skeletal mesh component. And this is a skeletal mesh component. Okay. So that should go in there. Okay, wait a minute, we need to compile. And it still doesn't go in there. Why is that not going in there? Right, because if we open this up, right, you notice it's a skeletal mesh component. Right? So what we'll do, set armor right, spawn we'll spawn an active class, right, SKC, right, so we can't do that. Okay. Right, let's actually we'll say manual attachment. We'll split that pin. Right. We'll set static mesh. It's no static, it's a skeletal mesh. So we'll set the skeletal mesh. Right, and that's going to come from there. And then we're going to add that. And then we're going to do that. And then we're going to do that. Okay. Cool. Okay. At least we got it to do something. Okay. We're going to snap to target, save that. We're going to go in here again. Oh, that's not what we wanted. Go to viewport, simulate. Okay, so snap to target doesn't work. And it's got some kind of a rotation and location setting on it, which is fine. All we need to do is basically fix it. Now the interesting thing is it's not selecting a different one. Right, so if we go into here, I'm going to do that. I'm going to save that. Then I'm going to go back in here, go to viewport and simulate. Okay. So why is it always selecting the first one? Have I got this set up wrong? Alright. So we delete that. Right, we're going to drag that down there to make it a bit more. Okay. Press save on that. Oh, that's not what we wanted to do. Right, see how it keeps selecting the first one? It's weird. That is weird indeed. But we need to see the code running. Okay, we need to see what, well actually we need to see this. Right, so this is armor 2. Resume. Resume. Right, now that isn't armor 2, but I'm going to run it again just to check. That's armor 4. Resume. Resume. And that's the same armor again. Okay. So the simplest way about this, right, is not to do it here. Okay. The simplest way to do this is to actually put it in here. Okay, so we say armor meshes. Okay, and then we say skeletal mesh, Okay. And in here, we set this to that, refresh that. 1, 2, 3, 4, we say 5, right? Because we've actually got 5. So we can say blouse. We can maybe use these as well, but for the moment we'll just go with that, and that, and that, and that. Okay. Then on begin play, we're going to get armor meshes, length, then -1, right? Then we're going to get a copy. We're going to do int range, right? That's going to go in there. That's going to go there. And then we're going to go to mesh. We're going to say skeletal mesh. And we're going to say set skeletal mesh. And close that. Right. Then we're going to drag this in. We're going to save that. We're going to come back to here, and we're just basically going to do this, and we're going to see if that works. Now, I thought life was going to be a lot simpler than this, but apparently not. Right, that might not work because we're trying to add a component and get that component to run. Resume that. And that didn't work. Escape that. Press play again. We'll see if there's something weird going on here. That didn't work. Okay, so we're going to go in here. That's not right. That's not right. Neither wonder it wasn't working. Right. Try that. Right, so we've got that weird one again. And it's the same one again. Now, there's no reason it might not do that, right? But eventually it should change. And it just doesn't seem to want to. Right? Add a breakpoint here. Run. Right? So we're getting a mesh, which is armor SK4. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do custom, right, custom event, and I'm going to call it set mesh, right? Okay, and then in here we're going to do it here. Okay, so we go back to our mannequin, right? Then we say set mesh. Okay, then that is going to go in there. Okay, press play. We get our mesh. We set the mesh to armor 3. We resume that. We resume that. Don't get it. I don't get it. Why is it always set it back to the original mesh? And it's not even set to a mesh, right? Because this is nothing. Right? So I don't understand this at all. Right? The only thing I can think of is to basically add that. Right? Basically new version of it. Split this. Okay. Do that. Now, if I do set and what we actually want to do is set the skeletal mesh. Okay, so we're not going to set the mesh this time. We're going to do it here. And this is going to be the new mesh. Okay. Okay. And funnily enough, right, we're going to do that. And then this is going to go in here. Oh, got something different this time. Escape that. Play that. Escape that. Play that. Are we getting the same thing again every single time? Yeah, we're getting the same thing every single time. It's not set in the mesh. Right, I don't get this at all. Right, I want to try one more thing. Right, we're getting a skeletal mesh, right? So this isn't working. Okay. So we're going to try this again. Which basically should do the exact same thing. Right? So we should have armor 1. Now I do believe armor 1 is the one that it usually is. Right? And that's got that weird thing. So it appears the only difference when we do this it never changes the component. Right? It just never changes the component. No matter what we do, it never changes this mesh. Right? And I've got absolutely zero idea why it's not doing it. Right? We're gonna have to do a Google search on this. Because this is weird. Okay, that might explain it. maybe. Okay, so these guys here have a specific animation, right? NPCs base BP. Okay. So NPC base BP. Okay. Play. Resume. Resume. Now that is interesting because at least it's moving around now with him. Okay. That's different. Right, now we're getting somewhere. Now we are getting somewhere. Let's see where we are. Okay. So what we need to see now is this, let's say this armor here, right? Now the question is, what is the pivot point of this? Right? Now let's have a look. Okay, so let's try and rotate it, okay? So we're going to come to here. Right, and we're going to rotate it, I believe, 90 on the X. Let's see. Save that. Press play. We're going to stop it from doing that. Resume. We're going to stop it from doing that. Resume. Okay. Right, so we're not doing that. Right. We're gonna go 0. We're gonna go 90. See, the problem is the pivot point here. If the pivot point is not in the center, then we're completely screwed. Well, we're not screwed, but okay, I'm guessing that's not in the right place. Right. Now, the interesting actual thing here save that. We are doing it there. Right, we're rotating 90 on there. I want to know how we find out the pivot point, etc. of this item. Right? Let's have a look. See, I understand that we can't, because this has got different bones and it's a skeleton, there isn't a centre as such, but there must be a centre point, right, that this is based on. I've never really done this with a skeletal mesh. Right, where is the 0 point of the mesh? Okay. Okay, either way, let's press play. Let's see what that does. Right, so hang on a second. I'm thinking that's right. Okay. The way it was before is right. 0. And can I do simulation? Yeah. So is that? It is. So that's the front, right? So let's see that again, right? Simulation. So let's move it minus 100 on the X, right? Right, so where is it now? Okay. Don't know where that went. So let's say minus 10. Okay. So that's closer, I think. Let's say minus 20. Simulate. Okay, that's weird. Okay, let's say minus 5. Right, so that's weird. Stop that for now. So let's set this back to 0. And let's simulate again. Where the hell is it? Right, some of them are weird. It appears. And we only seem to be getting one. Right, so this is set in the mesh. Right, that shouldn't be set in the mesh. What the strange thing is, So that's okay. Okay, so the thing is, right, to simulate this, right, if I add a static mesh, right, so let's say we added a cube, right? Now, that's pretty much the wrong size of cube. So we'll bring it down to 0.5, right? Then we'll do that. Okay. We'll compile that. Right, and then we'll run our simulation. Okay. So, if we want our cube in the same position, right, so that is kind of where it is. Okay. So, in theory, our cube, we should be moving it that much, but in the basically these should be the opposite, right? So in theory we should be saying 147 right minus 112. Okay. So if we go to the viewport, simulation, it kind of doesn't do it. Okay guys, we've struggled tonight. I told you it was going to be a weird one. I know for a fact, right, I got told earlier that these meshes are offset, right? So basically they're not in the center. You can't pivot on the center of them. So I'm going to have to speak to my colleague and find out what it is I need to do with this, or do with these in particular, because otherwise the plan isn't going to work. Right? Now if we press play on this, you can see that we aren't basically doing the right thing. Right? There's something weird going on. Oh, we should say manual attachment. Right? So well, it still doesn't work. Well, what we'll have to do is test it in here. Right, and as you can see, it's still offset, right, to our character. Okay, so I'm going to have to do a bit more investigation into the actually dressed characters to find out what the offsets are and how to set that up. But if you've enjoyed the stream, hit like and subscribe, it's much appreciated. I'll be back tomorrow 2 p.m. Check out the description for links to the Groenland Discord, my personal Discord, my Patreon, and finally my previous game on Steam. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it greatly. Bye bye for now.